Today I'm joined by Peter Vandervennin, owner of the Mortgage Consultancy. So, hi, Peter.
Hi, Simon.
How you doing today? You okay?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, look, Peter, let's get straight into it and tell us a bit more about the Mortgage Consultancy.
The Mortgage Consultancy started the business about 25 years ago. We've sort of morphed it. Well, I was an independent financial advisor, but gave up that side of things and just concentrate on mortgages about 10 or 12 years ago. We're a specialist mortgage broker, development finance, bridging, specialist buy-to-let, do lots of residentials, equity lease, all those types of things. So we are a regulated brokerage, 12 members of staff, advisors, and so on. So yeah, we've grown quite a lot since we started. I started on my own. Then I had to get a secretary, or PA as we call them now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one of the things I did learn, and I know that's part of the purpose here, is if I was ever mentoring anybody, start your business as though it's always going to be way bigger than you think. Systemize it and so on. And I'm sure that's part of what you teach people. But I wish I'd done that, because really I just grew the business by the seat of my pants. When we had too much business, I employed somebody else, but it was normally reactive rather than proactive. So yeah, those are the things I would always and others that I would pass on to people starting out today.
Fantastic.
Have a clear goal as well as another one. Have a real clear goal.
This is some fantastic sharing sort of straight away there, Peter. Really like those sort of things. So look, and actually that first point that you made, start your business as though it's going to be bigger than you thought. There's a great book that I always recommend every business owner reads, which is The E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Yes, I have read it.
Have you read that one?
I have, yes.
Yeah, and it's a great book because that's really what he says. He sort of says, and he actually sort of says, start your business as though you were going to franchise it.
That's
so
right.
actually, and it links into exactly what you said there, is put all the processes and systems in so that as if you could then give it to somebody else and they could replicate the business. And that is then when you've got what I like to refer to as a commercial profitable enterprise that works without you. So great bit of advice, and we'll dig into that in a bit more. And then you mentioned about having a clear goal. So when you started out 25 years ago, why did you decide to become a business owner, and what was your goal at that stage?
It's a very good question, Simon. Very good question. It was in some ways I was forced into it. I worked for the Prudential for 20 years as a financial advisor. They decided they wanted to get rid of all the financial advisors in one go. And I think the first thing was I knew I didn't want to work for a corporate again. And I think a bit like your journey, I didn't want that other people making decisions for me. I have made some horrendous decisions in business as well, but they're mine. I fall on my own sword, if you know what I mean. But that's all part of the learning curve. The goal, if I'm really honest, was to earn some money to feed my family. Initially, yes. And initially, really brutally honestly, that's what my goal was. And that's why coming back to what I said earlier, I wish I'd had this sort of, right, this is where it's going to be. And I want 20 staff, and I want this and I want that. Initially, it was just to literally help people with financial decisions and make some money, give them a good service, and get repeat business. Really was my goal at that particular time. And then obviously it sort of morphed it onto where we are today.
Yeah.
But that was the remit at the time.
Like it. Okay. So which actually reminds me of another book that I think is great, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey, or Covey, I'm never sure how it's pronounced. And one of the 7 habits is start with the end in mind.
Yes.
which I guess is what you're sort of saying there, by having that clear goal, actually start with where you want to end up, what you want to achieve, and then actually start moving towards that. Because I think most business owners, when they go into business, are very similar to what you've sort of said there. It's okay, yeah, I want to go into business for whatever reasons they do, but actually haven't really sort of thought about where do I want this to go? What do I want to achieve from this? What's it going to look like in the future? And for me, that's a great place to start. And your business has evolved. So you start, as you say, you're starting out as a one-man band about 25 years ago. And now you've got, what was it, you said 12 staff, I think you mentioned?
12 of us, yeah, including me, yeah, all together, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what would you say was the biggest challenge that you faced along your journey of being a business owner?
If I can I come with a positive and a negative? The negative, I'm afraid, was 2008.
Right, yeah.
That was one of the biggest challenges I faced in my life, when my income stopped overnight, literally for a year, and where I went grey. So that was a challenge. However, that, I think, when you're in those situations, you can never see the positives from. The positives were made me a lot stronger in business. It made me go out and do a lot of networking and whatever I could do to rebuild the business, because literally nobody was doing any mortgage, nobody was investing any money, nobody wanted to make these decisions around. There wasn't any money to lend in those days. It was dark times, if I'm honest. But I think, sorry, I came up with that negative, but the positives are, as time goes on, yes, eventually I started like reading some of those books. I don't know where that comes from, because our family are, I'm not that I want to know, I had great parents, but they were sort of half full people, half empty people, not half full people.
Okay.
It was all, my dad went, oh, you don't want to go and start a business? Oh, he'd worked for Fords for many years and been through war and everything else. So he was quite introvert, and I was a bit, really. So I think not only is it your business, it's how you push it. I had to push myself through some barriers.
Right.
Some of those had happened previously on the Prudential, but for business, then you've got to go out and see people, talk to people, and you've got to sow a lot of seeds that you reap later on, and you can't see that at that particular time. It's dire. I was looking for business. I was working probably twice as hard as I was the previous year for very little, if anything at all. But that, I could say, a lot of that is why I'm where we are today, as such.
Okay, so yeah, a lot of very dire time, as you say, particularly in finance in 2008. And I think mentioned before we came on,
it was hard for everybody, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was in banking at the time, so yeah, absolutely. But how you overcame that, from what I picked up there, was being positive in a very sort of challenging environment, and saying, right, okay, what can I do? What actions can I take now?
Exactly.
And I call that being above the point of power. You can be above the point of power, which is taking ownership, accountability, and responsibility, or you can be below the point of power, which is blame, excuses, and denial.
Yes,
you
totally.
chose to be above the point of power. Go, right, what can I do? So you from what I picked up there, you said you picked up books, you learned things, you read things, you turned to books, but also you got out there and spoke to people. You networked, and even if again, I think what I picked up there, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that even if that wasn't going to generate immediate business, it was actually laying the ground for the future when things would pick up. So you were doing that legwork, if you like, of going, right, I've got to do this now so I can take advantages of the opportunities that will be there in the future.
there's an old saying that you reap what you sow, and very much, yes, it was very much hard work. I did some, I think I did, yes, that's when I started doing BNI.
Right.
I went to other networking events. I got into a property networking event, probably early 2009. So yeah, it sort of evolved. And if I hadn't have done that, then at one of the property events, there was a speaker who was just starting his own education piece. So now we talk at his events as well. So a lot of our business comes from there. But you know, how do those, one of my largest clients with, let's say 500 odd properties, you know, I didn't get that much business from BNI, to be truthful. It was, you know, yeah, it was a journey I went on, but one of my biggest clients came from that, if you understand what I mean. So if I hadn't put the hard work in, getting up at 5 o'clock every morning, or once a week, you know, to drive down to Gravesend to do my BNI, and so on. So yes, what I'm perhaps trying to say is I sowed those seeds then, but I can trace people, and people in that group now, although I've left it probably 10 years now, there's still some of those people that are doing business with me now. You know, so
That's really good. And look, again, and apologies, I'm making a lot of references to things today.
no,
What you said there reminds me of something that Jim Rohn said. Jim Rohn was an American sort of motivational speaker.
that's right.
He's passed away now, but I love some of his stuff. And he said that life and business is like the seasons. He said that we will go through the winters like 2008 you referred to, but on the other side of the winters will be a spring and summer. So during the winter, exactly what you sort of said, what we need to do is prepare ourselves for the spring and summer that we will know will happen. And when you think about it, what happened after 2008 eventually is we had a boom. So that's the summer. And then, but what we know is after a summer, we will always get an autumn and a winter again. And whilst we're in the summer, we need to prepare, knowing that at some point in the future, we will have an autumn and a winter. So, and I think that is, you know, that's great advice that he sort of said there, because when you think about it, that's how the economy works. We have our springs and summers and our autumns and winters. It always goes like that. So, so I like what you did there. You used your, let's call it the winter, to prepare for the spring and summer. And what was it you said there? Reap what you sow. So great. So
absolutely. We've sorry, just you're 100% right. We picked up a lot of brand new clients